Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom nestled between whispering willows and sparkling streams, lived a young man named Lucien. Now, the people of this enchanting land believed that every life began beneath the watch of the stars. They believed that the moment a child was born, a guiding light emerged in the night sky, a celestial beacon meant to illuminate their path through life, to protect them from harm, to write their destiny across the heavens. However, the night Lucien was born, the stars trembled as if in disbelief. The midwives, with hands worn soft from years of tending to newborns, gasped in unison when they saw it. No new star ascended into the inky expanse above. Instead, a single bright light, perhaps as old as the heavens themselves, cracked like glass and exploded into 1,000 glittering fragments that rained down upon the earth. The heavens wept fire and the ground split with light. And then an unnerving silence fell across the kingdom, as though the very stars had gone to sleep. Fright flickered in the eyes of the elders. With trembling lips, they spoke in hushed tones, weaving tales of omens and prophecies. "This child carries no star. He is the boy with the shattered soul," they proclaimed, their words echoing with foreboding. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into years, whispers followed Lucien like shadows. When he strolled through the cobblestone streets of his village, mothers clutched their children close, shielding their eyes from the light of his passing. When he toiled in the fields, his fellow villagers muttered that he was cursed, that his mere presence withered the crops and turned the rivers to blood. And every night, when sleep embraced him, pieces of him, his strength, his hope, and even his memories, drifted away, scattered like mist on the wind. In the morning, he would wake feeling weaker, his limbs heavy with lead, his breath shallow and quick, and within him a hollowness echoed, as if a part of his being had vanished into the abyss. "Without a star, there is no destiny," the elders intoned. "He is not meant to live, yet live he did." Though his body withered and ached, his eyes held a quiet fire, the unwavering longing to be whole. Then one night, when the cold fingers of fear threatened to extinguish the last embers of hope within him, he found her. Her name was Serenia, a healer whose touch glowed faintly when she soothed the wounded. Unlike others who recoiled from him in fear, she leaned closer, her gaze meeting his with understanding. Where fearful whispers branded him as a monster, she saw pain. And through it, a flicker of a boy who refused to surrender to despair. "You are not broken," she whispered, pressing her warm hand against his ice-cold skin. "You are only waiting to be found." And that night, for the first time in his life, Lucien dreamed differently. He did not drift away into nothingness. Instead, he saw a fragment of his star shining brilliantly in the distance, beckoning to him. Fueled by a newfound determination, Lucien and Serena set out to find the lost pieces of his soul. Their journey led them through landscapes, both breathtaking and treacherous, each step testing their resolve. They ventured into the forest of hollow echoes, where gnarled trees whispered lies, trying to break their spirits. Every rustling leaf seemed to mock them, every shadow lunged at their hearts. Yet Serenia held his hand, her light banishing the encroaching darkness, her faith in him keeping him grounded. And there, in the heart of the whispering wood, they found the first fragment of his star. It pulsed with a gentle light, nestled amidst the roots of an ancient oak. When Lucien touched it, warmth surged through him, chasing away the lingering chill. His heartbeat grew stronger, his breath steadier, and for the first time in years, he felt truly alive. With each fragment Lucien gathered, his strength returned, piece by precious piece. The boy who once trembled at the slightest breeze now walked with confidence, his eyes reflecting the light of his growing power. Yet with each discovery, his visions grew clearer, revealing the perilous truth. They were not merely searching for lost starlight, they were racing against time. For lurking in the shadows, something ancient and malevolent stirred, drawn to the rekindling of his power. Creatures of shadow and flame, the Shadowborn, stirred from their slumber, their very essence woven from the remnants of his broken soul. Their path became fraught with danger, Storms of black fire raged across the sea of ash, blocking their way. Serpents born of shadow and nightmare rose from their slumber in forgotten caves, hissing defiance, and always, in the distance, something hunted them, something that twisted their hopes and preyed on their fears. "They will not stop," Serenia said, her voice tight with urgency as they fled across the windswept mountains. "Because they are you." With every step, Lucien felt the echo of his own darkness urging him to surrender, to give up the fight. Yet with Serenia by his side, drawing strength from her unwavering belief in him, he pressed on. He fought with a ferocity born from desperation, each strike aimed at reclaiming the fragments of himself scattered across the land. Finally, they reached the sea of ash. Before them stretched a desolate landscape, a stark reminder of the destruction wrought by the Shadowburn. But the sight of so much suffering only fueled Lucien's determination to succeed. He would heal this blighted land, just as he was healing himself. And there, in the wasteland, amidst the twisted remains of a shattered city, they found the penultimate piece of his star. It throbbed with power, its light a beacon in the encroaching darkness. As Lucien reached for it, a guttural roar echoed across the plains. From the swirling ash, the Shadowburn emerged, their eyes burning with malice, their forms shifting and grotesque, a horrifying reflection of Lucien's inner turmoil. They lunged, their claws extended, their jaws agape in silent screams. The battle that ensued was one of epic proportions. Lucien fought with every ounce of strength, his movements fluid and graceful. Each strike was a testament to his resilience, each parry a promise to protect the girl who had shown him the meaning of kindness. But despite his valiant efforts, he faltered. Wounded, broken, he collapsed onto the scorched earth, his vision blurring, his breath growing shallow. Hope, like a flickering candle, threatened to be extinguished by the winds of despair. And Serenia, seeing his fading strength, knew she had to act. As the Shadowburn closed in for the final strike, she moved. With a grace born of desperation, she stood before Lucien, shielding him with her own body, tears streaming down her face. "Take it," she whispered, her voice hoarse with emotion. "Take what was always yours." And in that moment, something extraordinary happened. Light poured from her chest, tendrils of pure energy weaving together to form a radiant orb, the missing piece of his star. Hesitantly, Lucien reached out, his trembling hands closing around the warm light. It was a feeling of completeness he had never known, the wholeness that had eluded him for 18 years. Power surged through him, mending his wounds, invigorating his spirit, making him feel more alive than he ever had been before. He was no longer the frail, sickly boy. He was whole. He opened his eyes to see the world anew, vibrant and full of promise. But when he turned to Serenia, his heart shattered. Her body lay still, the light fading from her eyes. The prophecy had been true. In saving him, she had faded into nothingness, leaving behind a silence more deafening than any scream. With a heart heavier than the stars in the sky, Lucien cradled Serenia's lifeless form. His soul, once fragmented, now shone brighter than the constellations, yet his heart broke. And as his tears fell, hot and heavy on her cold cheeks, a miracle occurred. The light of his soul, undimmed by grief, flowed back into her, not to take, but to share. "A life without her is no life at all," he whispered, his voice cracking with emotion. And in that moment, the laws of nature seemed to bend. The sky crackled with celestial energy, and Serenia's eyes fluttered open, reflecting the wonder of a second chance. Love had rewritten the prophecy, and so the tale of the boy with the shattered soul became a legend whispered across the ages. Not for his power, not for his battles, but because he proved that sometimes the greatest destinies are written in love, not starlight.